What's going on, everyone? Jeremy here from The Quartering, and it's been an interesting weekend as we watched maybe the last big kind of tent pole that Marvel has, and watched with kind of bated breath, wondering, was Thor: Love and Thunder going to be the billion-dollar, franchise restart that Marvel so desperately needs? As they kind of limp their way through Phase 4, they haven't had a lot to talk about. Spider-Man, amazing, very good movie, done very well, $1 billion. Can't really complain about much of it. For a superhero film, almost as good as it gets. Then you had The Eternals, which was objectively bad. You had Shang-Chi, which the fans of the movie liked, but very few people saw it at the theater. And then you had Doctor Strange, which also underwhelmed at the box office and was it was okay. That's what you get with Marvel now. It's okay. Now, Marvel has proclaimed Thor: Love and Thunder as, in their words, not mine, the gayest movie in Marvel history. They even retconned some of the characters and made them enjoy men as well. I don't want to give any spoilers. So I'm sure people will want to still see this Thor movie. I recommend waiting because there's really nothing about it that you have to see right now, unless you're just in the time waster mood. If you're kind of just interested in wasting time, I suppose. But the box office is pretty telling, and it looks like Thor: Love and Thunder, even though it had a pretty good weekend, the media really is spinning and bending over backwards to pretend like this is a huge win. When I'm looking at it, it looks like the movie's likely to lose money. Before we get into this story, just a quick word from this video's sponsor, Established Titles. Huge shout out to this video's sponsor, Established Titles. Established Titles is a project based on a historic Scottish custom where landowners are referred to as lairds or lords and ladies in English. They allow people to buy as little as 1 square foot of dedicated land so they can call themselves a lord or a lady officially. In return, they commit to plant a tree with every order and protect the beautiful, pristine woodlands of Scotland. Established Titles makes an absolutely amazing gift, and a person could officially get their name changed on documents. Their title pack gives you at least 1 square foot of dedicated land on a private estate and an official certificate with a crest. Established Titles is currently having a really big sale just for you, my subscribers. You can get an additional 10% off any purchase you make with the discount code TheQuartering. So click the link below. Go to establishedtitles.com/thequartering and use promo code TheQuartering to save an extra 10% today. Now, the movie itself has rated fine. It's not the best Thor movie, but it's not the worst. It would take a lot to be worse than Dark World, but with a 68%, that's not well received by the critics. And when you look at maybe the fan reviews, if you look at it maybe compared to some of the other Thor movies, it's where it's at. If we look at Thor: Before Love and Thunder, Ragnarok, a 93.87, both a critic and fan success, I would say. I think Ragnarok was funny. My complaint about the modern MCU really hasn't changed, in that it's essentially too many jokes and no stakes whatsoever. That's been my complaint about it. But that's not everybody. Some people just like the jokes. But Thor Ragnarok, I think, may have been the most highly rated at 93.87. Now, if you look at, these are the standalone Thor movies, not necessarily movies in which Thor appears. Dark World was awful, 66%, actually almost the same critic success, but the fans really did not like it. And the first original was a 77 and 76. So if you look at the Thor movies, they really haven't been that amazing, critically acclaimed, or the fans outside of Ragnarok have never really rated them really high. Spider-Man Far From Home, 90-95. The latest Spider-Man may have been even higher. I think you have, Doctor Strange too, 74-85. These are not amazing. Yeah, No Way Home was 93-98. Spider-Man still going strong. But the rest of the Marvel's cinematic universe floundering. The Eternals with a 47%. Shang-Chi did very good. And like I said, people that saw the movie liked it. But what's interesting is the amount of copium around the Thor film is weird. Look at this. Thor 4 overcame bad reviews to dominate the weekend box office. Okay, a Marvel movie doing well in the theater is really not surprising to me. It's not something I would like celebrate or be, it is what it is. It's just such a huge audience that you see Christian Toto saying it no longer matters whether MCU movies are good or not. Thor: Love and Thunder, $143 million opening weekend estimated. Very good. Very good. Now, the box office numbers are much better with an opening Friday of $70 million, which includes 29 from preview night. That was Thursday. And estimated to make between $135 and $145 million over the entire weekend. Overall, the total box office for the weekend looks to be about $244 million, which is up 33% over the same post-Independence Day weekend in 2019, which is a continuing good sign for theaters, even with reports of the COOF picking back up again. And, just so we're clear too, so we're like on the same team, right? I love movie theaters. I want them to exist. I want them to flourish. And there are a bazillion things you could complain about. You could complain about theaters. The fact that they're way too expensive for a typical family to support anymore. The fact that their concessions are absurdly overpriced. Look, I understand you got to make money, but a popcorn and soda at my local Marcus Cinema is like $15 or something like that. It's insane. And I don't even, like I said, I'm not even complaining about that. With this release, Marvel Studios keeps its streak alive with another film opening at the top of the box office. Thor: Love and Thunder hits $143 million domestically and $302 worldwide. This has MCU's first solo character's, quote, fourth film, coming in just behind Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2 at $146 million, and making it the 12th best opening in the motion picture studio's history. Pretty impressive, right? That's pretty impressive. Now, I think it's about 30 MCU films, I think. So it's not exactly insane, but I guess in a post-Endgame world, I'm not going to sit here and also like cope and bend the facts and truth to try and pretend like the the movie tanked. But I'm saying that even with its spectacular opening, it's still very likely that it's going to lose money. This is a film that had maybe the biggest budget in Marvel Cinematic history, I think, or one of the biggest budgets, $250 million. $250 million. Now, you see IGN says Thor: Love and Thunder has $302 million weekend box office victory, worthy of the gods. Very good. I mean, I think, you look here, Minions: Rise of Gru took second place, earning $50 million in its second weekend. As it stands, the fifth entry in the Despicable Me franchise has brought in $210 million and $400 million globally. So Despicable Me has $400 million in revenue. 100 more than Thor with a full extra week, right? So I mean, it's weird in this world. Thor: Love and Thunder nails $300 million global debut. I don't think it was enough. Most of these films end up dropping 50, 60, 70% into the next week. Do you think that, though I don't know that Thor: Love and Thunder is going to have this like incredible legs where people are going to rush back to the theater to see it after hearing other people, because most people say it was disjointed and difficult to follow. But I also think that like the reviews are going to continue to come in. There's very little rewatch value unless you're like a super huge Thor fan. My wife is a Thor fan, but I think she's more of a Chris Hemsworth fan. You see, Disney's Marvel Thor has come in largely in line with pre-release projections, landing $159 million in 47 international box offices and $302 globally. Worldwide, this represents the third highest weekend for Hollywood movie during the lockdowns. Come on. And the second best of 2022, only behind Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness. Let me just point this out. Again, I think Disney's probably happy with this opening, but the fact that Doctor Strange, a B tier character in the MCU, out earned Thor, that's actually shocking. On a like-for-like basis, Thor and the gang scored the 11th best MCU debut of all time, 19% ahead of Ragnarok. In overseas terms, this was the 9th best MCU launch, coming in 30% ahead of Ragnarok, and also the third highest international opening posted by any Hollywood title of the... Oh, are they still... It's... Okay, anyway. Now, what's interesting, though, is Thor has a massive budget and is facing some serious hurdles. This on July 10th, China box office lighting up the stars wins the weekend. Thor 4 in limbo over suspected LGBTQ censorship. Will Disney bend the knee? We've seen a couple of examples of them not doing that, which again, I give respect to. Like, okay, you can virtue signal all you want on Twitter, but if the second $1 of your earnings are at risk, you immediately fold, then I'm not exactly giving you any kind of credit. The Taika Waititi directed superhero film could be the 7th consecutive Marvel tentpole to be blocked by release by China's regulators. I give Disney credit if they stand by this, though, and they just let it chill. Here's the thing. They had a $300 million global bow this weekend. We know that getting into China, you make a lot of money. There's just too many dang people there that will pay to see a Marvel movie. And what are they giving up in China? Maybe $200 million. It's not a little bit of money. Beijing censors never explain nor comment publicly on their decisions, but the industry participants inside and outside of China scrutinize such moves carefully and back channel with authorities to ascertain where the lines are drawn. In Lightyear's case, it was the girl-on-girl action, and the partner was believed to have forestalled any chance of release in China, where LGBTQ storytelling is mostly banned from big screens and small. Thor 4 is similarly believed to be stuck in China's censorship process because of some brief LGBTQ moments, including the suggestion that Valkyrie is bi and the character Korg is now in the LGBTQ community, which I think they retconned. I can't be for sure. I'm not like a Korg super knowledge person, but I think they retconned him. Now, if we look back at Ragnarok, Thor Ragnarok earned $112 million back in China in 2007. So losing the Middle Kingdom market certainly will ding Thor Love and Thunder's worldwide sales totals. More significant for Disney, however, is the fact that Thor is far from the only Marvel hero to face China's censors' wrath. After nearly a decade of arguably China's favorite Hollywood film franchise, Marvel has seen its last 7 Hollywood tentpoles go unreleased in the country. Industry watchers have hypothesized different reasons for why each film fell afoul of regulators, but the longer the trend continues, the more it has begun to look like a deliberate effort to dim Marvel's local popularity. Black Widow was the first Marvel film in the streak to not get a release in China. Some speculated that China passed on the film after Disney released it straight to Disney Plus because of the lockdowns, while others say the film's vague depictions of communism via the Red Guardian upset the regulators. Oscar-winning Chinese director Chloe Zhao's Eternals was the next one blocked. Prior to Thor 4, Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness was most recent to be met with ire, reportedly because of the inclusion of LGBT character America Chavez, and an extremely brief sequence that showed a pro-Taiwan newspaper on a city magazine kiosk. This is a film that's budget was $250 million. $250 million. I think the biggest in a very long time. I think it was Thor Love and Thunder. I think budget is huge, which means it needs. So Thor Love and Thunder budget $185 million. That's not what I heard. Here, the direct Thor: Love and Thunder is one of the most expensive MCU films in history. Variety reported that Thor: Love and Thunder, which is projected to open north of 135 million, it did do that, has a massive estimated budget of 250 million, which means it's going to need 500 to 600 million just to break even by industry standards. 300 million in the first weekend. We're going to have to see week 2, but there's a very real chance this movie will lose money at the cinema, which does not bode well for the future of the MCU. I hope you enjoyed this video. We'll talk to you again real soon.